Yo, what is going on? Let me take this off. Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Barry from Capitol Hill Trades, the soon to be #1 Discord app for signaling trade signals for options. I get asked a lot of times, what is my strategy? Why am I consistent? Why do I have so many winners? And the question is actually easy to answer and almost easy to learn. So, we're going to talk about the #1 most effective and consistent trading strategy, which is scalping. Let me go ahead and pull out the mic. Check 1 2 1 2. What are we gonna do? Alright, YouTube, let's be clear. I'm not a financial advisor by any means. I'm here just to show you my scalping strategy that I've been using that made me consistent and basically had me growing my account. This is an introduction to option scalping. Of course, there's many different types and techniques that you could use in the market. You could invest, which means holding a stock for several years to come. You could day trade, which means you're holding the stock for maybe 30 minutes to a couple hours. You could scalp, which means you're in it for, I don't know, a couple of seconds, a couple minutes, right? So it's a really, really fast trade, and that's what we're going to get down to, okay? So let's move on to the next slide. So this is a quick overview that we're going to be going over today. What is scalping? When should I scalp? What should I avoid when scalping? What time frame should I use? Examples of scalping is scalping for me, and we'll go over tips for beginners. So what is scalping? Earlier in the video, I mentioned that scalping is basically a short-term trade, right? So we're looking for a breakout or a breakdown. So scalping is a day trading technique where a trader buys and sells an individual stock seeking quick momentum moves, right? We are in and out of the stock. Therefore, scalping thrives in volatile stocks or stocks with rapidly changing price action. For example, if you look at Tesla's chart for the last couple years, you'll notice that it's very volatile. But if you look at something like Coca-Cola, the price doesn't really move as much, right? So you want to choose the right stock to scalp. The goal of a scalper is not to make an enormous profit with each individual trade, but to rather make a small profit on many trades. We are in, we are out, we are seeking quick momentum moves. Right here I have it as 10 seconds, 10 minutes for the range. But honestly, it just depends on the trade. It could be less than 10 seconds, right, if you're playing a quick high. It just depends on what you're doing. If you're looking for if there's a breaking news play, you'd probably hold for longer than 10 minutes or so, right? It is important to know that scalping is regarded by professional traders to be the most consistent strategy of all time. So that's the reason why I use it, because it's the easiest strategy for me to actually grow my account, and it's been working for me. So I want to be able to share it to you guys, and hopefully this video will provide a lot of help towards your trading. So let's move on to the next slide. So when should I scalp? You definitely want to scalp when there's a setup for a high probability short squeeze or a long squeeze, right? You want to scalp key technical levels or supply and demand areas. There's different strategies when you go about it. When there's a clear trend or when there's breaking news. So I'm going to show you examples of all of this besides breaking news, for instance. That one's just common sense that you're just going to see the stock explode towards an upside or a downside. For example, when COVID happened, the stock market just tanked, right? That's an easy trade that you could actually find. So I'm just going to go over the harder stuff, okay? When should I avoid scalping? You want to avoid scalping when there's no volume or liquidity. Therefore, after an hour or two of the market, most traders do leave, so there's less volume, there's less breakouts, less breakdowns, less consolidation breaks. Therefore, you want to trade in the first 2 hours, right? When it comes to consolidation, you don't want to be involved in it. That's where most traders do lose money, because again, there's no breakouts, breakdowns, or consolidation breaks. It's just pure and utter consolidation. The price is just going back and forth, and it's very hard to read. This is what market consolidation looks like, by the way. It's when the stock is trading up or down and then it stays stagnant for quite some time. So this is when you don't want to trade, because look at the stock is just bouncing back and forth. And usually when this happens, there's also low volume too to move the stock, okay? All right, examples of scalping. This is where the money is, guys. So when it comes to scalping, my strategy is to focus on breakouts and breakdowns. Not necessarily a momentum scalper, but I'll talk about it on this slide right here. So we have different patterns here, but we're going to focus on the bullish pennant. The whole idea when it comes to momentum scalping, for instance, is just to ride the wave up. So most momentum scalpers would see the strength, get in here, exit here. Okay, with my particular strategy, it's a bit safer. What I'm looking at is an area where I can actually see and predict a momentum squeeze. So I'm going to wait for the pattern to form, and once it starts to break out, that's when I enter, and I would get out after 1, 2, or 3 candles, sometimes even longer. But I want the quick move, which would gain me 10, 20, 30% on that move easily. So if I invested $1,000 right there, I would see $300 back, $10,000, $3,000 back. You're in, you're out, you're more in control. If the stock does move the opposite way, then you quickly stop out. So the same is true for the bearish rectangle, right? So it has a clear downtrend towards the downside. It's consolidating and is working to break that downtrend consolidation. So as you can see, it broke it. You would get in on the breakout, take advantage of either 1, 2, 3 candles when it comes to scalping, and then voila, you have a 10, 20, 30% profit on that. So let's go ahead and move on to real life examples that I personally took, and let's cover it. Alright, so I got 3 clear examples for you guys. As this one's probably the easiest scalping opportunity here in Boeing. It's the 4-hour chart. We're going to talk about this 185 level that it's been trying to break. The stock has a clear uptrend. So in this day, it broke the 185 level and retreated back down. It got rejected. Next day, it consolidated. The day after that, actually caught a play. So let's go ahead and focus on that for now. So this is Boeing's 5-minute chart. This is where I can see that Boeing has clear strength and a clear trend upwards. When it comes to execution, I usually use a 1 minute. That way I have more of a feel for what's actually happening. But we're going to go ahead and focus on the 5-minute chart for now. So I got in here as the price was stabilizing, and I rode the wave up, and I sold when it hit resistance. The reason why I sold when it hit resistance is because in most cases, the stock will reject. This is another resistance area where the stock rejected it and it trended back down, nearly rejected it, but then it broke that resistance and now it's following the trend line that I do have. So technical analysis is definitely a real thing and it's definitely something to learn, right? This is following my technical analysis perfectly to the T. So it was a beautiful trade. It was actually what I call positional scalping. The trade is actually on my Instagram. And just for you guys, I'll put it down in the description and go ahead and fast play it. Okay? Alright, so let's go back to the chart. So I took advantage of this day, and this is the reason why I love scalping, because you can't predict what's going to happen next. If I stayed in that position, for instance, it would have later gone red, and that day trade would have been red for me. I would have lost a couple $100. However, since I chose to scalp the position and move towards another stock, I gained a couple $100, and now I can look for the next scalp. I'm more in control, right? Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. So the next 2 days, I wasn't watching the stock, but let's go ahead and review it because there's a pretty nice trade here that could have happened. This day here actually broke the resistance line. Let's take a look at it. This is a 185 level. It's a Boeing 5-minute chart. It has a clear uptrend. Got rejected at the 185 area level and then retested it, right? It broke out. A perfect scalp. You would get in here. I personally would either exit here or here, as I did before. There's a resistance there, and I wouldn't want to hold that, right? I'd be in and out. But as you can see, based on technical analysis, the stock is holding up on this 185 level. That's how important it is. What a beautiful trade, right? Let's move on to Tesla's 4-hour chart. This one's a little bit hard to find. This is a 180 level on Tesla. It bounced off of it a few times, broke the grid, so it's not the cleanest setup, but it was something that was worth playing because the intraday setup was fantastic. Let's take a look. Alright, this is a 5-minute chart on Tesla. You could see the clear strength of the uptrend. It rejected a certain area. It decided a bull flag. I got in here on the bull flag and waited for the resistance to actually break. Beautiful trade. Easy read. Not the cleanest area, of course. However, it's perfect for a scalp. I made 10% on this trade easily. Let's move on to Disney's 4-hour chart. This one had a clear downtrend, and it's had a setup for a nice gap fill scalp.
Now, when it comes to gaps, they always fill in the market, always. So you could expect this gap that happened overnight to fill, and it started filling this day, and it bounced up, and it's starting to set up for a perfect scalp, especially on this day here when I took it. This is a 5 minute Disney chart at a clear downtrend, rejected off of the resistance area, and then broke through it. I got in here and exited out here for a quick scalp. Of course, I could have day traded this and made more of a percentage back. However, I decided just to scalp. That's my strategy. It's what I love, and that's the reason why my account's growing and why I have consistent winners. So why would I stop what's working, right? Hopefully by this point you guys do understand a little bit of how scalping actually works and how you can use it to benefit your trading. Please do, if I am missing anything, there's a lot of new traders on here, please do leave it down in the comments. I know it'll help them out a lot. And then also don't forget to like the video. Let's move on to the next slide. One question that you might be asking is scalping for me? I personally think that scalping is possibly the easiest strategy you could learn. I see young kids doing it, older gentlemen doing it. I feel like no matter what the age, what you look like, how smart you are, scalping is definitely something that you could learn and you could go ahead and improve upon it just by focusing on it, right? It's a 1 minute scalping strategy. It's an easy technique for beginners to implement, and it's widely regarded by professional traders as one of the best trading strategies, and it's also one of the easiest to master, right? To develop the skills to perform scalping, um, you definitely want to execute orders fast. You want to be in and out of the position, and you want to control your emotions. You don't want to be greedy. You don't want to have FOMO. If you miss the trade, you miss the trade, right? There's many stocks out there with setups that you could take advantage of, right? So I personally think scalping is good for everyone. I personally think you can learn this strategy whether you're in the Discord or not. But if you're in the Discord, it'll fast track your success, and it's just easy income, right? If you already decided that you wanted to become a trader, I just want to give you tips that I wish I knew at the very beginning when I decided to trade. First tip is size down or paper trade. You definitely want to learn to control your emotions when you're in a position. If you are sized up, for instance, and the trade goes sideways, guess what? You might feel depressed, sad that day. But if you're in with a tiny position and you lose a little bit, it wouldn't really affect you. So definitely size down. You're going to be bad before you become great at something like this, right? You want to master one scalp strategy at a time. There's momentum scalping. There's breakouts, breakdowns, right? Master one at a time. And you definitely want to get screen time in, is because you need to know when to scalp and when not to scalp. Now we've talked about this, but in order for it to actually click inside of your head, you would actually have to see it in real time. Get some screen time in. 30 minutes to an hour is definitely recommended. You know how stocks move in the first hour of the market versus the last hour of the market. You could tell there's a big difference in volume, right? So definitely get the screen time in. Last strategy is definitely common sense. Create a trading plan, guys. It helps you perform technical analysis. It helps you determine whether or not it's a good trade or bad trade once you journal it. Um, it it's gonna help out. Create a trading plan. But these are just tips and tricks I wish I knew when I started off trading. It definitely would have saved me a lot of money, and I want to make sure you guys don't make the same mistakes that I did. Anyway, guys, this is Barry speaking from Capitol Hill Trades, and we wish you guys a happy trading experience.